Hi, and welcome to this installment of Frank and Mary here in Northborough, the COVID-19 version, where we have repurposed these shows so as to focus to help seniors who are at home deal with these issues. As you know, the point of the Frank and Mary show is Frank and Mary are my make-believe couple that I always talk about. My name's Art Bergeron. I'm an elder law attorney. We always talk about Frank and Mary and their goal in life, which is to live in their house until they die and be buried in the backyard. So right now, Frank and Mary are homebound, can't get out of their house. They're totally stuck. They're here in Northborough. And one of the things that they are thinking about, and we know you're thinking about, is kind of how the rest of the world is working. And so my wonderful co-host, Chris Lindquist, from the library, who agreed to be my co-host, has been charged with finding the people that you need to know, so that you can hear about the programs you need to know about, right? So Chris, thank you very much for getting another great guest for us here today. And I know that you're not at the library today, but your library is still going, and we'll talk about the library a little bit at the end, right? But
Sure.
whom do you have here today for us to talk to?
So, very happy to have the Fire Chief David Parenti here with us, Arthur. And David obviously is probably working around the clock, I assume.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you're getting some sleep. But they have an emergency management team at the town, and I'm sure David will be able to tell us some details about what's been happening behind the scenes. So I'll just let you go ahead and ask him some questions.
And that's great, David. I guess we'll both be kind of asking questions, but I think if I'm Frank and Mary, I'm at this point like totally stressed out, right? I'm stuck at home. I don't have an easy way of kind of finding out what's going on. I don't even know, are there COVID-19 cases here? If there's a person who shows up with COVID-19, how does that get dealt with, right? And what are the various things that the players on the group that you're really directing now are doing in order to try to help people deal with day-to-day life and deal with what could be an emergency. We all know that we're going through what could be some really hard times right now. How should folks be dealing with all of that stuff?
Yeah, those are all great questions, and it's been pretty crazy for the last 3 weeks. What we've been doing is we meet at least once a week, sometimes twice a week, and we've been meeting through Zoom now. And the team consists of myself as the fire chief and the emergency management director. I hold both positions, lucky me. The police chief.
Do you get a lot of extra pay for that?
Yeah, no, I get a lot of extra hours for that, is what I get.
Yeah. This is when you earn your pay, right?
Yeah,
now, right?
the police chief, the town administrator, the financial director, Jason Little. Also, Andy Dowd, our town clerk, because he's coordinating all of our posts on our website. We have Greg Martineau from the school district, it's the superintendent. Scott Shrepentier, who is our DPW director, and then they have some other people with them that are in there, their assistants, and we do this via Zoom, which is a terrific. I wish I had stock in Zoom because people have been going crazy on it. And also our current Ellen, who is our current acting or interim senior center director, and the new director is supposed to be taking over, I believe, in 4 days.
Yes.
So I'm not quite sure if she wants to step in and do that right now. But so we all meet via Zoom, and before that we were meeting in person to discuss, to coordinate all of our responses. And one of the big things we wanted to do is make sure we had a standard message that came out from the town. It's very simple for the police to put out a message and then fire to put out something different and schools to put out something different in the town hall. So we created a team that consists of myself, Casey, who is our Board of Health person. He's our health officer, the police chief, and the town administrator. Every single thing that goes out through this town is vetted by all four of us. So we all are sending the same message out. Then our other big concern was, how are we going to get the message to the seniors? Some of them don't use Facebook, aren't on Instagram, don't access the internet through different ways. So how are we going to get that message out through there? So we were trying to coordinate that through the senior center and making sure Eileen got that information out. So that was our goals. And then our biggest concern for the elderly initially was, how do we maintain them getting their services? We were concerned with the bistro, because a lot of people come to the bistro every day at the senior center to eat. So if that shuts down, or if we shut the senior center down because that was a high risk category, how do we maintain this? And we've been able to do that through the bistro so far, but only about 16 to 17 people a day have been taking advantage of that. So we're kind of surprised. I thought that number would be a little bit higher. We were preparing meals, putting them at the curb. People would come by, pick up their meals. Now we're looking at actually shutting the bistro down. So what's our next step? Our next step is to coordinate with the high school, and the high school is going to take that over because they're doing meals. The school district is doing meals for the students who are on the free lunch meals and that every other day. They're going to take over the feeding of these seniors.
Right.
So it's been pretty crazy. You know, the best way for them to get information without question is the town website.
Yep.
That is the best, the most reliable. And that's going to point them to CDC and to the Mass Department of Public Health. The problem is there's too much false information out there. Social media, one of our, I don't want to say it's a great invention, but one of our newest things out there, unfortunately provides too much false information. And seniors are getting calls from their children, from other people saying, hey, I just saw this. You need to be careful of this, or I just saw this. And then, of course, because we live in a society that this happens on, scams are starting to come out and people are starting to take advantage of elderly, taking advantage of the seniors and saying, hey, we're here to clean your house. No, we didn't set that up. So don't let people in your house. Call us if you have that question. Call us if you need food. Either contact the senior center, contact the fire department, contact the police department, and we'll coordinate all that stuff for you.
I get it. And so for seniors who by the way, who are facing just that, you know, who are facing some kind of scams, and I know Chris and I had also talked about, you know, talking to the police chief about, you know, talking about trying to deal with some of those issues. For those folks, they can literally call any one of those numbers because you guys are all connected, right? So it's police or fire or the senior center, and they can help you figure all that stuff out. Right?
May I ask a question? So David, that's obviously not a 911 call. It's not an emergency, but that would be a normal business call, correct?
Correct. If you call the business line, and for the fire department, it's 508-393-1538. 24/7, there's somebody here. And if there isn't, it rings right through to the police department. If we're all out in the calls, we're all busy. So you're going to get somebody if you call that number. Tell them who you are, what's going on. The police chief and I, as well as the town administrator, are in the health officer, Casey, are in contact 24/7. So if it's something I can't answer, I can immediately reach out to one of the other ones. So my guys would call me. I would then in turn call whoever would need to be called.
And by the way, David, one of the reasons why Chris and I are decided to do this show, or to kind of repurpose the Frank and Mary show, is we realize that for a lot of seniors who, you know, may not have Zoom, they may even not be, you know, crazy about their internet. I do nothing but elder law, so I've still got a lot of people that I'll be communicating. I'll say, do you want me to email you or mail? And they'll say, well, you know, I've got internet. I said, no, that's not the question. Do you want me to email or mail? Well, maybe you should drop a line in right, because they're not comfortable. So one of the ideas behind the show was we realized that just about everybody, especially folks who are seniors, have got cable.
Yep.
And we really figured this is it's a wonderful, we really want to just do another shout out to the Northborough Cable for the great job they're doing in just helping people be able to stay in touch this way, right? So it's
and they've been pushing out all of our stuff as well. So if you're on Northborough Cable and you go to their information channel, all of the information will be, this is where you go. Our weekly updates are there, so it gives our current counts on how many people in town are infected, our current information from the state. One of the best things they can do is get a hold of the COVID MA through their phones. Most of them will have phones that have text capability, and if they text COVID MA to 888-777, it will get them. They'll get daily updates from that site.
And David,
can you do that number again? We'll also make sure that Northborough posts that number.
Yeah, it's COVID, and hang on, let me look real quick because I'm getting a gazillion other things here that are coming in as I'm. Hang on, COVID MA. So you send it to 888-777.
888-777. Oh, that's fairly straightforward.
Yeah,
that's great. COVID MA 888-777.
Yeah, and so if you text that to 888-777, you'll be automatically logged in. And I just got another update today. It tells you all kinds of information. Here's our actions to support expanded healthcare. Here's our actions for essential business closures. So they can look at that, click it on their phone. It'll give them all great information.
David, you're also in continual communication with FEMA and MEMA, correct? With the federal and the state emergency management.
Correct. As the emergency management director, I have I log in probably 20 hours out of the day. I'm logged into WebEOC. WebEOC is an electronic format, and it's EOC is the Emergency Operations Center. Okay, so the state has its own SEOC, State Emergency Operations Center, and each community has their own Emergency Operations Center. So as the emergency management director, it's my responsibility to do that. I'm logged into there almost all day long, and that gives me constant updates on not just what our community is doing, but what others. So I put in what we're doing, and then I can see what other communities are doing. And I go, hey, that's a great idea. We need to do that, or we need to implement that. I bring it back to our team, we implement it. Or I bring it back to the team and we say, yeah, we don't want to do that. One of the things we're concerned with right now is housing for emergency responders. Well, we all have our own houses, right? Well, true, but if police or fire get exposed and become infected, we don't want to take it home to our families.
Right.
Okay, and we still need to be able to house us.
That's a great point. I would think that must happen with all your first responders, because boy, if you guys go, this is a big problem, right?
Yeah.
If nobody's there to respond. It must be similar with the healthcare players, right?
Oh yeah, very much.
What do you do? Yeah.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, my oldest son is a physician's assistant down in Albany, Mass. He works down at Albany Med in Albany, New York, and New York City actually reached out to them and said, could you send some people down? Because they're just hurting for people terribly. And I don't think he's going. He may be. I don't know if he's needed more where he is right now, but we're in the same place. So what we've done is we've reached out to, as an example, Northborough, Westborough, and Shrewsbury have all talked. And we said, okay, if this happens, then this. So in other words, if I lose a whole shift, what are we going to do? If I have a whole shift that goes into quarantine. Right. Well, then we'll reduce our shifts from 4 shifts to 3 shifts. So instead of working 24 hours on, so many hours off, we'll work 24 hours on, 2 days off. And then we'll utilize Shrewsbury for additional fire response, because they don't do their own ambulance. Shrewsbury has Worcester EMS, but we may need their fire response as we're running additional EMS response. So we've built all this into the system. We're also working with District 14, which is our local fire district, for additional continuity of operation plans, how we're going to continue providing service to our whole fire district.
David, in one sense, since there aren't many people on the road, and believe me, I actually go to the library 2 days a week. We're doing split shifts, so I go in on Monday and Wednesdays, and there's hardly anyone on the road now on the Mass Pike. It's mostly freight trucks and a few cars, I guess, but you're probably not responding to as many accidents now just because there's fewer traffic.
It's not just accidents, Chris, it's everything. Our call volume has bottomed out, except for, we're doing the COVID calls, but even that has dropped from when we first started. And we're probably down, 20 to 30% of our normal calls. And I think we've, not just us, every community and police and fire across the Commonwealth are all down. And so for people who would normally call the hospital for some things, they're saying, well, we don't want to go because we don't want to get caught. Well, that's great, except if you're having chest pain, don't ignore it. If you're having headaches, don't ignore it, especially for our senior population, because there's no one there to check on you necessarily. Sure. Call us. That's what we're here for. We will be there without question. We may look funny when we come in because we'll probably have masks and goggles on, because we have to treat every single case now as if it was a COVID case. Sure. There's been a lot of cases of us going, not just us, but departments going for a fall. We get called lots of times. I've fallen and I can't get up, and we come and we help pick you up. Right. Those people have turned out to test positive later on. So you're going to see us in full gear, mask, gloves, and eye protection, no matter what the call is. But please call us. Don't wait. We don't want you to wait until the last second and then call us. We're here for you. Call us.
We hear a lot about PPE and the lack of PPE, obviously, in medical environments, but I assume you guys are well supplied with protective equipment.
Okay, bad assumption, but good right now. So again, I'm going to take you back to that WebEOC. Has the ability for me to put in, okay, I need this stuff. So I put in a request 2 weeks ago for additional N95 mask and additional gowns, because we have this thing called burn rate, which we track our burn rate. How quickly are we going through these supplies? And initially we were chewing up N95 masks pretty quickly. CDC and Department of Public Health came out with new guidelines as we don't necessarily need to wear N95s. For every call we can wear surgical masks. But I put in a request through WebEOC yesterday. They showed up with 200 N95s, a significant amount of hospital surgical gowns, a significant amount of gloves. We just call them, they pull them out of the stockpile, and they bring them to us. We are down lower on a lower scale than the hospitals because they're burning through them 10 times faster than we are. But we were able to get enough stock in yesterday, I think, to hold us through at least the surge that we're expecting around April 16th, 17th.
So
we're hoping.
David, can you just kind of talk a little bit to folks about what happens if somebody has been tested and is positive, or they're awaiting results here?
Right now we have 20 positive cases that we're aware of that have come through public health. We are aware of a few more simply because we've transported them and they haven't gotten into the public health network yet. They will, and we'll hear about it, but we're aware of a few more. So the process is this. It goes into a software product called Maven, which is only accessible to public health. That has all the information about the patient. The information that is transferred to us, first responders, police and fire, is simply the address. So I'm told 123 Main Street has a positive COVID case. That goes into our computer-aided dispatch, our CAD dispatch. And then when we're dispatched to that location, it comes right up on in our rigs, positive COVID case at this location. Okay. So what happens is now we know that. We know that. They've also been advised when they turn positive that these are the actions you should take. And the actions they should take is self-quarantine for 14 days. That means no going to the store, no going out to visit anyone, no having your grandchildren come in. You need to be self-quarantined. The social distancing is the only thing that is going to work to flatten the curve and to stop this spread. So they really need to adhere to that. That being the case, if they need something, call us. If you need groceries and you don't have anyone to go get them for you, call us. We will coordinate that. We're working with the school district with their buses. We're working with the Worcester Transit Authority as well through the senior center. So if you need something, call us. We will make sure it gets to you. If you don't have family to take care of you, if family's going to take care of you, that's great. One of the things the hospital's trying to do is they're trying to divert and leave more people at home. If you don't need the advanced medical care and you can get through it, they're leaving you at home, but they're telling you, call if this happens, if this happens, if this happens. Right. Don't be afraid to call the fire department or the police department. We are here for you. Please call.
That's just great advice. That's just great advice. And I suppose that just makes sense as far as the hospitals are concerned too, because they've got to be trying to keep these beds freed. But as long as they know that you're there, that if there's an emergency, that you're going to get those folks there. That takes care of that, and I think you really went to kind of the heart of the issue with many of the seniors, because many folks, as opposed to the old days when we were growing up, there aren't relatives around. So you may be home and there is no way to get your grocery shopping done, right? And you may have somebody that was doing it for you, but maybe now they're really worried about leaving, right? So the notion that there's somebody in town that is figuring all that out for you is like a big deal.
Yeah, that is actually that's just about the first topic on all of our Zoom meetings for our team is, are we addressing two major categories we're looking at? Are we addressing all the elderly needs, and are we addressing all the younger people's needs? Are we getting food to those families that those kids that need it? Are we making sure they have what they need and the information they need? And are we getting to the senior populations? Are critical populations that we're concerned of? Most of us, I mean, I could call a friend and say, hey, go pick something up for me if I need to or whatever. Sure. But we're concerned about those. I can't tell you that is our biggest level of concern, are those two populations. That's why when Chris reached out to me and said, you want to do this? I said, oh, definitely. I want to do it. I want to get our message out there, but never be afraid. You'd be amazed how many calls we get from seniors and from other people that says, I don't want to bother you.
Right.
Are you kidding? That's why we're here. Bother us.
Right.
call, speak to the on-duty captain, say, I have some concerns. And even if, if you call them and then we can direct you either through the senior center or through June David Ford's to other resources where if you just need someone to talk to, we'll
Sure.
get you through that because you get lonely.
Sure.
I can understand that. So please pick up the phone. If you don't have internet to find out who to get a hold of through our website, pick up the phone and call the fire department or the police department, and we will get you someone.
David, a couple of things I've been wondering about, is the Meals on Wheels program through Bay Path Elder Services, do we know if that's still happening or not?
So Meals on Wheels has been an up and down thing. So yeah, that was a big concern of ours, and we're tracking that through the senior center. So initially, yes, they were still up, and then there were reduced capacity down to only critical needs. So if there was people who are homebound and they, either they can't get out because of physical reasons or whatever, they were still servicing them. Then we heard they were right down and weren't doing it anymore. And the last one I heard was they're back up to the partial. So that's where we're currently sitting to the best of my knowledge, but that could have changed this morning. And I just haven't gotten an update on it.
And also medications. If people can't get out of the house and they can't go to the pharmacy, are they able to call you and the police to see if they can? I know there's obviously some, I'm sure rules regarding that, but can you help us?
The short answer is yes.
Okay.
If you need your meds, a lot of places will deliver. That you can call them and say, hey, I need my medication. I can't get out. Can you deliver it? And they'll drop it on your, we're coming, we're out front, we're dropping it off, pick it up. If not, call us. You may not see a fire truck delivering it, but we'll make sure somebody is there getting it to you. Either through the senior center, again, through us, through whatever we have to coordinate, we will get it to you.
One of the things I always try to tell my clients in these cases is never say no to yourself. Never say no to yourself. Don't assume the fire department's too busy, the police department's too busy. You let them decide. You call and then let them say, oh, geez, we're all going to a fire right now. We can't, you let them decide that, right? Because they work for you. Work for you. But by the way, this just relates to just a kind of a related question. I would assume that everything you're doing, causes it's a lot of manpower that was doing other stuff and that is now trying to do this. So the question is, are there, from your team or from you folks, are there any volunteer opportunities for people who are also at home and really feeling like they'd like to help out, in any way that they think they could be useful? Is there any place where they could help?
Awesome question. Complicated answer. Okay. So this is not like your typical, we had a winter storm, we had a tornado, we need manpower, we need people out there. This is something we don't want you going to see somebody.
Right.
We don't want you knocking on someone's door and coming there and saying, I'm here to cook your meal for you. Okay. So we have that issue. We also have the vetting issue. It's like we have some good people, but like I said earlier, we got some bad people, and we don't want someone to just show up the door. I'm here from Elder Services to help you. Well, who the heck are you? Right. Yeah. So there is again, we have a link off of our webpage, and I know that, and everyone can get there, but the best thing people can do is make a phone call to somebody. Hey, how you doing? Just touch base, pick up the phone and call out there and say, how you doing, Betty? How you doing, Tom? How you doing, Dave? I know you're lonely. Have you reached out to anyone? And that is so critical right now to know that they're not home alone. They are home alone physically, but we're there for them. And I would recommend that if they can get onto our webpage, and again, any town webpage you go to, if you go to the fire departments, we have additional information. Go to the police department, but they're all going to point you back to the main COVID page. Click on that and find out what can I do to help. And a lot of it is just those phone calls and donations. People are looking for donations. If people have a little extra, that's fine. We have people coming in constantly wanting to bring us food, wanting to bring us supplies. We have put in place a policy that says we can't take any home cooked meals for obvious reasons, right? But if we've had people bring in stuff from restaurants, we had the guys were thrilled. Was it last night, the night before? Texas Barbecue Company came in. Here you go, guys. And that's great for us because now we don't have to go shopping.
Right.
Right. So it's great for us. But if someone wants to volunteer, that simple phone call is really critical. But look online. There are other opportunities. We just can't have you going out there and volunteering and taking stuff to people, because then you're going to get exposed. And it's really tough for seniors because they have so many other issues going on. They have a lot of what we would call comorbidities or other illnesses that you may be okay normally, but because of all these meds you're on, because of all these other things you got going on, it's not a good idea for you to get exposed. So that's why we don't want them just out there touching, physically touching within the space.
For sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Chris,
So
any other questions?
I just wanted to say, David, that you guys, you practice this. You do tabletop scenarios.
Yep.
So you are well prepared. You've been doing this probably for your whole career, getting ready for these types of extraordinary circumstances, correct? And I know that Michael Browiak and you guys get together. I think a couple times a year. I've been a part of that, tabletop exercises. I don't know if getting ready for a pandemic has been part of the preparation, but obviously you have a command system that is in place. And I know I've taken the 100 and the 200 level, Arthur. So there's an ICS training, but I haven't taken the advanced level. But obviously you guys are exceptionally prepared, correct?
I've been in the fire service since 1978, and I've been a career firefighter since 1986, and I've been a chief officer since 2001. So I've been going to school preparing for this and working in emergency management for a long time. However, like you said, Chris, you can't be prepared for this. Oh my God, is this really happening? Pandemic. Yes. We prepare for natural disasters. We prepared for terrorist attacks. We prepared, and we talk about pandemics, and we have things that we work with health department for point of distribution. So let's say if they do come up with a not a immunity, but some kind of
shot pill,
right. Then we would activate our point of distribution plan that we've trained on and put in place. We're good for that. But this is just something that luckily we are falling back on. As you said, Mike Borowick, he works with me, emergency management. We're falling back on all our years of training and years of experience to say, what do we need to do? What's our next step? We're not looking ahead one day. We're looking ahead 20 days. And that's what I was just, again, before I came on this morning, assigning my different officers to different things. So let's look ahead. What do we need to do in 10 days? Where do we need to be in 20 days?
But it's funny when you describe all of that, I say to myself, that's why people became firemen, right? That's what I have a cousin who had been the state senator out here, a guy named Bob Duran for many years. But he really wanted to just be a fireman because he just wanted to be helping people. And I remember his mother saying, you can't do this. You have to go to college, blah, 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 blah. But he said, but Ma, this is what I really want to do. That's why people did this, And so I could see folks really rising to the occasion here because it really is special and they want to be helpful and they want to be, open to, the fact that this is novel. That's one of the challenges. That's the challenge of the job.
Arthur, it's interesting. I've hired guys who have pre-med degrees. I've hired guys who have been working in the public sector, private sector, making a ton of money, and says, you know what? This isn't what I want to do. I've always wanted to be in the fire service. I've always wanted to be an EMT, a paramedic, whatever. And I've hired these guys and I'm like, are you sure you want to do this? Because you're taking a huge cut in pay. Yep. And you know what? They're thrilled. They're thrilled to be here and help them. Our guys are here every day. I haven't had one problem with anyone saying, oh, I don't want to come in. Nervous? Sure. Yeah, because they all have families at home. Here to do their job and be here for you. Yep, we're here for you.
That's great. Very
so Chris.
Yep.
Chris, this was a pretty wonderful guest. You had said, oh, we have to get David Parenti. He'd be terrific. Blah, blah, blah. This is wonderful.
This is really great. Wonderful. Yeah, thank you, David. We really appreciate it. And I think, Arthur, next week we're going to have Christine Alessandro from Bay Path Elder Services.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. So really, thank you very much, Chris, for being willing to do this. Thank you very much, David, for doing this. This is really, really valuable information. We're going to be doing these shows once a week. So, we may, have folks back, or if you've got somebody that you think should be reaching out to the senior population, talk to Chris about it. We'll make sure that we get them on here. All right.
Yeah. Without question.
Thank you very much.
You need to get Chief Liver in because he really needs to talk about the scams that are going on and how the police are dealing with that. And their department is standing up just like we are. Some incredible men and women down there. And I really thank you for the opportunity. If you want me to come back, give me a scream and I'll come back.
Will do. Thank you, David.
Okay, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Arthur.
Chris, thank you. This is just wonderful. This is really wonderful. And once again, a shout out. Thank you very much
Thank
to
you,
the
guys.
folks from Northborough Cable. And we'll see you probably next week at the next installment of Frank and Mary here in Northborough, the COVID-19 version. Thank you very much.